Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan Dang and I'm a type 1 diabetic, and today I'm going to be talking about my experience traveling abroad with type 1 diabetes back in high school. As many of you probably know, I'm currently a freshman in college right now, which means that I'm fairly independent with my diabetes management, but it wasn't always the case. Back in high school and before then, I was pretty reliant on my parents for their help. So in high school, I really wanted to go on this travel abroad to Belgium for 2 weeks, but I wasn't ready or prepared yet to be alone with my diabetes management. So today I'll be talking about how I prepared for that and what the experience was like. I know that diabetes can be difficult, especially managing it on your own and figuring out how to transition to being independent with it. So if any of you are in this position, hopefully this video will help you. If you have any questions or comments, please make sure to leave it down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. As I said, in high school, I really wanted to go on this travel abroad program in Belgium for 2 weeks, which meant that I would be away from my parents without their guidance or help to manage my diabetes. So this was kind of my process and what I did to work on that. So the first big issue I had to deal with was waking up in the middle of the night to correct low blood sugars. Throughout my life, I had a really difficult time waking up in the middle of the night to lows. As you guys know, dealing with the low blood sugar is hard enough when you are awake and alert, but being sleepy and groggy, it's hard to force yourself to get up to correct the low blood sugar. And it's really difficult to eat tablets in the middle of the night for me because I just don't feel like it. And it's just the actual process of eating the tablet is really difficult for me. So I had to work on getting up in the middle of the night. How I practiced this was sometimes I set alarms at 2 a.m. and then 4 a.m. just to wake up for a second, just to know that I can physically get up. Another thing that really helped was having the Dexcom alerts. Having those loud and making sure they're on at night and not going off is a really good way to force yourself to get up because it won't go off if you don't get up. Another thing I did was transitioning from tablets to juice. Even though you might have to drink more juice than eating a couple of tablets, drinking juice for me is a lot easier in the middle of the night than eating tablets. Additionally, fruit, applesauce is really easy, gummy bears, fruit snacks, those kind of things. So I would highly suggest looking into easy snacks for you to eat when you're low in the middle of the night, because tablets are kind of just the go-to default for everybody, I think, and for diabetics. But if you can't do that well and eat tablets well like I can't, I would suggest looking into other things. The next thing I had to focus on was figuring out how to stabilize my blood sugars while on the move. In this traveling abroad program, we would be on the move all day. We walked around and did a lot of tours, so I had to make sure that I would be able to keep my blood sugars in a good range when going around and without stopping for food, because you can't do that if the rest of the group isn't. So I had to make sure I was prepared with enough snacks for the whole trip. I had to make sure every day I brought lots and lots of snacks, even if it was heavy. So bring snacks that you enjoy, but it will also bring your blood sugar up in the case of an emergency. So for me, that was fruit snacks mainly, a lot of just regular fruit like apples and bananas and things like that. Next up, I had to work on figuring out all the supplies on my own. So before this trip, I really relied on my parents for packing my supplies when we were going on trips and monitoring that. But for this trip, I made sure to pack all my supplies to know what exactly I needed. Doing this on your own will help you prepare a lot, because I had to make sure and figure out how many pump sites I would need, even if I used up a lot or you had to overpack. So I would highly suggest starting that transition on your own and packing on your own before going on big trips, because it'll help you prepare for the big trip. The final thing I had to learn was how to be more comfortable with my diabetes. Before this trip, I was never embarrassed of my diabetes, but I think I've always been kind of sensitive about it. I'm not sure if that's the correct word to use, but I didn't want to tell people if I didn't have to. I didn't want to broadcast that, but I had to learn how to be comfortable with just announcing it to people, because I need to know that people know about it in case of any emergency. So going up to adults and saying, hi, I have type 1 diabetes. In the case of an emergency, this is what you need to do. Also explaining it to your peers and telling them the same process. So kind of getting comfortable with that whole I have diabetes speech is really important, and not beating around the bush about it or anything like that. So those are kind of just some things that I went through preparing for going abroad on my own. If you guys have any of your own experience or tips, please leave it down below. And if you have any questions or comments, also please leave those down below and I'll be sure to respond to you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!